And I know unrequited love and desire when I see it. And this episode proved it.
Only apply that. Get it, don't be timid when you ain't apply that. Love a bone, give along, leave it. I don't want no trip, baby, say like it.
My name is Ashley, and this is My Sweet Perspective, where I give my take on all things TV and movie related, and I am here to put you on, okay? Welcome back to the channel. We are back to talk The Testaments, Season 1, Episode 4, honey, the green tea of it all. And I have tons of thoughts, but I actually wanted to start here because last week's video did so amazing. We got so many comments, but one of the comments, I want to address this immediately and get it out of the way. Because one thing you're going to learn about me is if you can say it to me, I can say it back. And one of the comments left by Elizabeth Sharon 527 said, I think Becca's mood is only about her fear and depression about having to get married. She has totally been by her and she wants nothing to do with men. She has deep sadness over this and she doesn't want that for Agnes too. It has nothing to do with her feeling more for Agnes. That is a weird take in my opinion. One thing's for certain, two things for sure. I don't say things just to say them, sister. I have been watching TV for many a year, and when I see something, when I feel something, I know what it is. I watched all of the 80s teeny bopper movies. And I know unrequited love and desire when I see it. And this episode proved it. We're going to get into all of the things, but I had to set that right there because the touch, the dance, the lingering of it all, drop it in the comments. Was that a weird take or was that an accurate take based on what we saw? Thank you. Now we're going to get into the episodes. I'm going to talk about what stood out to me. This episode was narrated by Daisy, which I absolutely loved because we've gotten all kinds of narrators throughout both The Handmaid's Tale as well as The Testaments. And now we're over here with her, and Daisy has a fresher perspective, a more real perspective, if you will. And I loved everything about it. At this point, the girls are preparing for this tea. Now, basically, the green tea is for the girls who are now green. So they've come on their cycle. They're ready to be introduced to society, to go to the ball, and to meet their commander, their future husbands, whoever they may be. And you have to prepare, but you prepare by getting ready to please the aunties. This is the biggest step in your whole life because depending on how this goes, it'll determine your standing, who you get. If you get somebody from the colonies who's diseased and infected, or if you get a good commander who has a good reputation. This is really setting the standard for these girls' lives. So as we're walking through, getting our bouquets for our aunties, Daisy, for the first time, sees people hanging. And so she is new to this. Although she's been through her own things and had her own experiences with trauma, she's never seen anything like this. And so she stops, taken aback by what's going on. And immediately Agnes jumps in and it's like, no, it's fine. They were Mayday. Mayday wants to kill us. Or they tried to kill us on the bus. It's fine. We're just being protected. The eyes, they're going to take care of it. Our guardians are going to be fine. You have Jehoshaphat, like a Pearl girl, and you have Shunammite. Girl, it was for the best. They did whatever they needed to be done, going along with their regular lives. And again, this is just indicative of where we are and what they have been desensitized to. This is the environment that they've grown up in. This is something that they've seen their whole lives, at least for the ones who were born in Gilead. So now, as we're there getting the flowers and exiting, and we have that interaction, Daisy also has an interaction with the florist who basically says, I need you to tell Garth that I need to get out of here because it's a problem. And my thing is, Mayday is being sought out. The florist has the awareness to know that. And so now, this entire episode, we're going to feel Daisy and her, going back and forth, being faced with her own mortality, because what does this mean for me? If all of these other Mayday people are being targeted, this florist reached out to me, she knows who I am because apparently everybody in the Mayday network knows who each other is now, which is very different than what I remember with Mayday before. There were a few select people who knew, but really mum was the word. Everybody wasn't supposed to know who Mayday was and where they were at. But y'all correct me if I'm wrong on that. Now, as far as Shunammite and her response, I believe Shunammite is going to be problematic. I think she's going to be problematic as we go through this episode. I just can't shake the feeling. She is so by the book. She is so Susie Do Right. I have no clue where that's going, but it makes me extremely nervous for all of us. Daisy's helping with the preparations along with the other Pearl girls. And really, they're coming there in a servant's capacity, but also lightweight to spy because the Pearl girls are known for that. So as they're doing that, Becka takes Agnes to the side and is like, girl, let me take you down through here and teach you how to dance for the ball, what this dance is going to look like. And in this moment, you see it all come out, even the song playing in the background, honey. But I've watched enough damn 80s teen movies to know exactly what these mean, what this means, just enough to keep me hanging on, playing in the background as I'm gently touching your arm and caressing you and have to stop myself because I've been overcome with emotion because I really love you, girl. And Agnes is just oblivious. She's just excited to be here and figure out what's going to happen at this point. Now, there was another comment that came through all about Paula being so concerned about Agnes and how she doesn't hate Agnes. She just wants the best for Agnes. She wants the best husband for Agnes. She doesn't want her out of the house. She's not bothered by anything. And I think this is a great time to have a lesson in what microaggressions look like, what seething underneath the surface looks like, because there's no universe where y'all can sit up here and tell me that Paula actually cares about Agnes. Even last week's demonstration regarding the cycle coming on and all of that, I don't want to say it was performative. It was happiness because Agnes is on her way out of the house. And now the commander doesn't have to split his attention or affection between Paula and somebody else. I don't care what anybody says. I know what I see here. I know what I feel here. And especially when, oh my God, your hair is frizzy again. Oh God. Oh, just look what I have to deal with when I deal with her. And throughout this entire episode, we're going to see that reframing of that. This is not about Agnes. This is all about Paula. This is about appearances. This is about reputation. This is about you better not embarrass me. This is about you better find a good match, not because I care about you, but because I care about the reputation of this family and not being embarrassed. Let's call a thing and get over that. So the girls are nervous because everything must be perfect. This tea must be perfect, the delivery, and not that they're doing anything really on their own except pouring from the teacup. It's really about how well I monitor my Martha. How am I treating my Martha? Is everything going to be in order to the specifications? Because that's what being a commander's wife is. And so again, as we're sitting here, we're listening to Daisy talk about how all these women are so prim and proper and that they're married to war criminals. And what does that look like? And what does that say? And she's really processing it as we're watching everything happen, because how can this be so important to these girls when they're killing people, when her life could be on the line at any moment? It's very interesting. So we also see Penny is here to help the girls prepare. Now, Penny is Commander Judd's wife. And y'all remember him from last week. Everyone said that he looked like Fred and how that's indicative of something else. I saw a ton of the comments saying he's bad. If he's Fred, but he's worse than Fred. And Fred was it was Serena Joy really putting the battery in his back, but it kind of scares me that that's who he is. And so she's there. And as she's talking, last week they alluded to the fact that she was pregnant, she was late, and she was having morning sickness and all of these things. Well, I guess now it's been confirmed, and Commander Judd is super happy. And Hulda comes out and says, and you're much further along than you were last time. So apparently she has lost a baby before, and this is the second try. So I don't know if she's not been able to hold many babies before, or if it was just that last instance. But either way, Hulda is going to say what Hulda says. And honestly, she reminds me of Luna Lovegood. If you remember the Harry Potter series, then you know exactly who I'm talking about. That's what it feels like. So now, as Penny's there and that little situation happens, Garth walks in, and Agnes is kind of making eyes at Garth, and Garth is kind of, what's up? And Penny notices immediately and is like, Garth, could you read that letter from the commander, please? And it's really just congratulating Agnes on where she's at, and he can't wait to dance with her at the ball. My thing is, y'all are playing it too sloppily for me. Daisy's playing it too sloppy for me. Garth's playing it too sloppy for me. And definitely Agnes, because Agnes can't even control it. The fact that she's in love with this Garth. And so now when they step away, it's just Daisy, and she's worried about execution. At this point, she pulls Garth not over to really a safe place, in my opinion, because I know there are ears everywhere in Gilead. And it's basically like, what's timeline? What's the go date? And how the hell do I get out of here? What is it that you want to see done? And he's like, listen, we've never had anybody get this close before. You're so close to us getting to these girls and figuring everything out. She says, well, what is Endgame? He says, I don't know, but it's got to be worth the investment. And she's like, F you. F you and F this, because if you're going to keep moving a goalpost, or if there is no invisible goalpost, we need to figure something out. And again, Garth is like, I want return on investments. And, that's going to look like, because Garth, really, who are you in the movement? You're so young. You have this vested interest. I'm really excited to know who he is and where he comes from and why he's so passionate about overthrowing Gilead. So now the aunties arrive. Everyone goes outside to meet them because it is time to perform. It's time to get our ranking and figuring out who's going to be the diamond of the season, in the words of Bridgerton. And so the girls are getting ready for the test. And again, this is going to be determining the rest of their lives, their future, what type of husband they're going to have. And if the aunties want to, they can be very vindictive. We know that about them, even when they weren't marrying people off, even when just they were assigning handmaids. We know exactly how they are. So now we find out a little bit about some of the girls and their parents. We find out that, of course, Paula is married to the most powerful MacKenzie, Agnes's father. So they is at their house and they're hosting and all of these things, and she's the one in control. Next, we talk about Jehoshaba's father. He was the architect of Gilead. So she's kind of sitting in a seat of power. And then we, of course, have Becca's parents, who are literally nobodies. And so that's why Becca's mom tries so hard to ingratiate herself to the other ladies to hopefully get a good spot for Becca. Now, again, I love Daisy's narration. Her prayer when we get to the breakfast, like, if you don't strike down these raggedy hoes right now, I was like, I know that's right, Daisy. Listen and give us free, because what is happening here? I'm watching you guys get excited to marry monsters. I need Auntie Lydia to come on out and reveal herself, because this hemming and hawing, and she loves every bit of this spotlight. She loves every bit of making decisions for these young girls, but there's got to be more to it. I saw a change in Aunt Lydia last season of The Handmaid's Tale, so I know that there's got to be more than that. She's not bad. I'm not going to believe it, but she loves all of the adulation. She loves being respected and revered and the boss of everything. She absolutely loves it. And so now the girls are getting ready. The Marthas are coming in, and we see who Jehoshaba is. And she's a problem as well. Put her over there with Shunammite, because there's no way she went off on that Martha like that and knocked the thing down out of her hand, the teacup. I said, oh, you're crazy and you're absolutely a problem. Why would you do this to me today? And I'm like, girl. And she's like, it's key, baby. It's not supposed to be cloudy. There's nothing here. That's not how it's supposed to look. Like, something safe to do. And so you're like, oh God, that's so dreadful. Now everybody's being served. Daisy's mortified at everything that's going on. She gets along with Penny, and Penny's like, yeah, awful. I hope they rip them apart, all those Mayday people, and just very violent, very terrible. I can see why she's married to Judd if he's as bad as everyone says that he is. Rosa gives an encouraging word to Agnes, like, you got this. And y'all know I love Rosa so bad. I'm so glad she's still here. I am still afraid for her. Like, I hope if Agnes ends up getting married, Rosa gets to go with her, because I don't trust her alone there with Paula. So now we're sitting down. Tea is being served. Everyone's doing their biggest one. Agnes did great. All the other girls do great. But this other young lady who's sitting at the table with Agnes gets up. She's doing fine. Everything looks good. And that whole Paula literally pulls the rug from under her. And she spills tea. And apparently that was just the end all be all. Apparently that's the end of her life. Later, she talks to Auntie Esty and is like, I hope they don't marry me off to somebody from the colonies. And she says, whatever God's will for your life is, that's what it'll be. Like, basically, sorry, sister, it was bad. That puts you at the bottom of the list. And I just think that's insanity. Literally, over spilled tea, your whole future and destiny could be on the line. So now, while all that's happening, Daisy says, let me snoop. Let me be valuable. Let me be useful, because the sooner I can get whatever I need to get, the sooner I can get the hell out of Gilead. So she goes in the commander's office, just trying to snoop around, and commander's in there. He's like, can I help you with something? Can I help you, sister? What are you doing in here? And she's like, chocolate on your desk. And I said, Daisy, she a quick thinker, y'all. She's a quick thinker. You said she not June's, but June had to have trained her. June trained her. Anyway, so as we're having this conversation, he's like, all right, so you wanted some chocolate. She's like, yeah, I apologize. Whatever punishment you want to inflict upon me, go ahead and do it. And he's like, fine. He's like, but you just here awaiting everything that's gonna happen. And she's like, put me with your daughter, and she's just such a revelation. She's such a good representation of God and all of this stuff. And he's like, yeah, she was a good girl, but she's not really a girl anymore anyway. And he's like, is she happy? And I was like, nuh-uh. Oh no. In my first review, I had said, or I had asked basically, that I wanted really to see a father-daughter relationship where the father really loved the daughter in these moments. And I think I'm getting a piece of that. It really feels like Commander MacKenzie does love Agnes. It feels like they've grown apart and there's difference, because why are you asking if she's happy? You can't talk to your daughter. I think there had to have been probably like a chasm once Tabitha, her other mother, passed away. Now with the introduction of Paula, I don't see Paula allowing them much time to be together or to bond, but he seems really concerned. And I think in that moment, he gives a canned response like, oh, she's just the most gracious and whatever. And he's like, yeah, fine. And he's like, Grace, be blessed and stay out of people's offices, basically. And she's like, So kind of gives a look of like, all right, interesting. But she gets this chocolate and she notices there's this different writing on it from another country. And by the end of the episode, we learn that it's a country who wants to take down Gilead. And so it's like, what is he doing there? Why was he there? And what does this mean? Could he be Mayday? Could he be part of the resistance? Could Commander MacKenzie actually be good? That's kind of a question that stood in my mind. So now it's time to have the commander's cake ceremony. And this is a process where all of the girls get a piece of cake, and the girl who is chosen basically as like the diamond of the season or the first pick, whoever gets it, is the most likely to be married first. And so we're eating our cake, the girls are tasting, and all of a sudden Agnes bites into something, because of course they couldn't use plastic. It had to be a little porcelain figurine. And so she bites on it, cracks a tooth. Paula immediately is pissed, like, what did you do? And again, I'm really questioning anybody who is really thinking Paula loves or cares for Agnes. And you don't see that this is pure superficiality and just purely reputation. Like, I really am struggling to understand that. But anyway, immediately Becca's like, my daddy will fix it for you. And of course, her mom is like, yeah, right over. And fix the tooth and everything. And so they pack it up, they go over there to the dentist, and this is when the happening happens. And I told y'all I feared that this was going to be worse than Handmaid's Tale as far as the brutality of it all. And this was despicable. And I don't even know what happened in the room, but I'm just so damn disturbed. So we already know he had violated her before with the x-rays. And so now back to get this tooth, and tells her to say the Lord's Prayer as she is put under anesthesia. Okay, so we know something's going on. He shuts the door and he's taking off his jacket, because why the hell are you taking off your jacket? Is this a damn flashback to The Hand That Rocks the Cradle? Do y'all remember that doctor who was filling up the listen, what did you do to her? And so, wakes up, she's groggy, of course, but her tooth is fixed. And now it's time to go home and figure everything out. It's time for the Pearl girls to leave. Rosa has left them some cake and all of the things. At this moment, I think Daisy tells Garth, listen, in love with you. Keep it cute. Agnes is in love with you. Keep it cute. We don't have this to go and do. As she's going home, she sees the florist, Candace was her name, had been taken out. And again, in this moment, really being faced with her own mortality, and that this is really a mission that she may not make it back home from. And I think that's just overwhelming. And so she gets home and she's getting ready for bed, and you got to turn on her 99.2 FM to see what the latest news is for Mayday. And this broadcast starts as a warning and is immediately cut off. And in that moment, I think she has this epiphany, this realization. She gets out of the bathroom stall and goes and looks in the mirror. And it's like, I can see exactly what's happening. And all she can do is let out this muffled scream, because all I can do is scream and avoid, really, because what is the hope for me? Where do I go from here? And what does this mean for my life? Simultaneously, back at the MacKenzie residence, Agnes is, ready for bed and is looking down at her undergarments and sees that it's completely ripped open. And now she also, looking in this same mirror, is like, has this realization of really what it is. And I love how we're getting to see these two ladies mirrored, these sisters mirrored, right, in each other, that both are having an awakening or an awareness, not only to who they are as women and coming into that, because Agnes, it's all about identity and womanhood and who I'm going to be and the wife that I'm going to be. But now also, did someone violate me? Like, this the reality of the Gilead that I'm living with? And then on the other side of that, Daisy being self assured and kind of, I don't want to say cocky, we don't know her that well yet, but very confident and self assured seemingly, is now really in a state of fear. And this is far worse than what I heard about in school, what I read about in books, what I've seen on the news. This is real life. This is real stakes. And I don't know what this means for me. And I love that we're getting to see these two ladies mirrored. I thought that was beautifully executed here because you feel the emotion of both of them. One, with the reality that something possibly has been taken away from me, I can't get back. And the other being that the stakes are high. And this might be something that Daisy doesn't make it out of, you guys. I absolutely loved this episode. Think that it was a different pace, I think, than the first three episodes, but I think we needed this here. I think this is a turning point for both of their characters, and ultimately we'll see what happens in episode 5. But this was fantastic for me. Loved how we got to see the process. Again, it was a bit slower, but I think that was by intention and by design. But I absolutely loved it. I'm here for it. Great episode. But you guys drop it in the comments. Let me know what you thought. Let me know, do you have any predictions? Where are we going from here? What is going to do? And what honestly did the dentist do to her? Like, is she fully, because you don't have a white sheet down. If she makes it to the marriage, I don't know, but what does that look like? Did he fully? I don't know, y'all. Like I said, I feel that this is going to be worse than The Handmaid's Tale because at the end of the day, these are children. And I just don't know, y'all. But drop it in the comments. Let me know. If you're new here, be sure to like, subscribe, hype the video, do all of the things for your girl, okay? Become part of the Sweet Peas. Yeah. See you guys next week when we talk The Testaments episode 5. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.